Hello everyone, this is the Great Pumpkin speaking and welcome to this new PvP video about Dragonfable. So, right now we've managed to reach a streak of 4 and now we're going to be continuing our little challenge with the same rule set as usual. So, let's get going. This time I'll be going as a ninja using Stand the Scan Orb to increase my poison damage, and for once I'm actually using my wind daggers. I don't know why, I never get to use any wind weapons for some reason, except whenever I get an earth elemental or something, and that really bothers me for some reason. Anyhow, we're starting off against Dark Light, a Doom Knight. Which version? Oh, it's a version 2 too. Huh. Let's start off with Furious Assault for the stun. Actually, is that a good idea? Probably not. Let's start off with Fade then. Yeah, that sounded right. Okay, so how many turns does that give me? 2. Okay, let's start off with Rapid Attack. That actually makes more sense for me to use daggers on a ninja. It always felt weird to have a bunch of swords and other stuff. The class actually feels a lot like Rogue. Anyhow, is my shield still up? No, it is not. So let's see. I kind of want to go for a quick stun right now. And it seems that it's stuck. Sweet. Alright. Now let's try... Can either blind him or I could vanish. Not sure if Vanish actually increased my defense. I'm assuming it does. If it doesn't, I'm gonna look really silly too. Oh, but I was one turn ahead anyway. Let's have a look. Avoidance for one turn. Well, that pretty much defeats the purpose of what I tried to do. Or not. Great. Next one. Okay, we're up against Dax. Does he have a proper weapon? No, he does not. Oh well, not my problem. So which order did we do this? I completely forgot. If I'm not mistaken, we start with Blood of the Lotus. Alright, summon Honda with that ninja trinket. Throw Scorpion's Venom. Got a nice amount of dots, at least. Throw a Viper's Venom. Then move into Catalyst. If I'm being honest, I actually feel like doing that big stealth move using Vanish and Shadow is actually more productive than actually using Catalyst. Maybe that's just me. Sure feels that way and it kills people that much faster. Not nearly as high as I would have hoped. Okay. Let's see what we have. We have Sawyer. Sawyer, who's a regular warrior. Okay. Well, for that we'll have to start off with a stun. Perfect. Start throwing the poisons. There really is one thing about this game, there's not really, what can I say, enough elemental diversity to warrant using different weapons. Usually it's always light, darkness, maybe some ice and fire here and there, but the other elements are kinda useless as is. Only fights like Siofra actually gets you to use your entire armory, and then again, not all of the elements. It's kinda useful to have a weapon that people aren't usually resistant to, but still, it's usually not that great. Anyhow, going to Vanish. Just his time for his big combo too, sweet. I think I can finish him without actually having to pop any defense. Oh yeah, that was no problem. I actually thought I was going to Catalyst. There we go. So we're up against Shadow, who is a Soul Weaver. Soul Weaver. Got at least one safe turn. It could make him waste his thing, but it doesn't matter because of the cooldowns anyway. It would actually be a great time to see how that poison setup pans out based on the turns I have left. The dots are powerful, although sometimes I wonder if actually going full-on offensive with the other moves might not actually be better. Maybe if your crit is high enough. But as a basic class, that sounds kinda doubtful. There we go. So let's have a look at this. 5 turns of Viper Venom, and I can't see the other stuff. Is it because it doesn't go any further? Seems like it. So go into Vanish. Oh no, he cleansed himself, so that whole strategy was complete bogus. He pretty much removed all of my dots with his move. That makes sense. So basically I've completely messed up this fight. That's awful. Oh, and then I'm getting moved into a stun. At least I resisted it. Let's go into Fade. Go into Rapid. And I can probably finish him off with a crit. Or not. Close enough though. So, finish up with Rapid, and we're good. Guess it shows that it's pretty late. My attention span is fairly low at this point. So we're up against Looney, who's an evolved Dragon Lord. Which means about the same strategy as usual, really. Okay, pop with the Lotus. Strange how I feel like Ninja is one of the more interesting classes to play. Seeing all of that setup pay off is actually kinda nice. Some of the problem I have with some classes that are just so powerful and require really not that much in the way of a proper setup. Not all that rewarding. Sweet. Go to Vanish. Actually, I think he's gonna go into Shield Bash pretty quickly. Oh yeah, Shield Bash right after this. It means going into Shadow is not a good thing. Let's hope my Shadow is gonna stay up. Better. And no, it did not. Well, now you know. Really doesn't seem to be doing much on him. Ah, that's better. Nice crit. Going to Rapid. Ah, just short. Oh well. Could be good. Could throw poison. That way, I'm sure that he won't stay up. So, here we are. Woo! Streak of 5. And not that hard by the looks of it. Okay, so now we're gonna be heading as Entropy, one of the few monster classes after the Ancient Exosuit. So let's do this. So Entropy is a Dragon Coin class that I got recently, and to be perfectly honest, one of those I've been dreading the most of actually playing. It's not that I've got that much of a problem with it, it just seems like it's trying to do too much in one class, and it actually kind of bothers me. So, this guy. I'm thinking... I actually want to try that thing. We're gonna start with Petrifying Being in order to attempt to stun him. This is actually fairly strange for a class because you'd think that this move would actually be something of a nuke, if you would, but instead it's actually your main stun, with him being stunned for 3 turns at that. So, you know, just kinda makes things weird a little. Given that he's a paladin, it's probably a good idea to get everything up. We'll start off with Infection, which will debuff his darkness resist, hence why I'm actually using a darkness weapon. And then go into Spit, which costs a lot of mana, but will also very much increase his lower his resistance against darkness. So by looking at this, he's at minus 55 of darkness, which is extremely good and could be made even better if, for instance, I had taken the scan orb. However, I felt yet given that I'm using a lower powered weapon because I felt this armor was powerful enough, well, the benefits of it aren't quite as great. So now I'm looking at what he had and how many turns I have left. I have 1 more turn, so I'm gonna go into Blood Womb, which will increase my defense a tiny bit, but more importantly increase my damage by 70% for 2 turns. Now we're gonna try to throw a really big burst using a critical on this guy. But we've been affected by Inner Light. No, that's not the one. I was thinking something else. So Decaying Needle for crit. For a fair bit of damage. I suppose we could potentially have done better in some other places, but it will have to do. So, we've managed to unlock Rotting Touch with that, with which we can do a fairly nice amount of damage. Now the problem here with this class is that it actually doesn't have much in the way of defense, although Womb seems to have a really great cooldown, which is good for us. Otherwise, you're pretty much stuck using this, which is Vampiric Renewal, which is 50% heal over 8 turns. That's actually not all that bad. Still not all that great either way. So, let's see. What are our other choices that we can use here? I'm thinking... yeah, to reduce his damage. That seems like the most sensible thing to do at the moment. Actually, I have no idea what I'm doing with this class, so try not to judge me too harshly. So, go into Womb. This class was actually fairly central to the Earth Orb saga, and that's when it got released, albeit, you know, as a Dragon Coin class, we had no trainer or anything like that, so had to make do with what we had. Going to Poison Rain, I suppose. Kind of getting the feeling that I'm not quite using the right attack skills, given the fact that most of them are actually dots, which kind of is what's confusing about the class. It's got a bunch of skills that actually inflicts dots, then again, most of its skill hit pretty hard to begin with, and it wants to debuff resistance as well. So that's weird. So we're up against Luke, another of those guys who managed to destroy us a couple of times now. So we're gonna have to make do with what we have. Okay. I would rather not spend too much mana on this guy. Reduce the damage he'll deal. Or go to Blood Womb. 70% avoidance. Let's give it a shot. Got nothing to lose. Actually not sure how to read the defensive skill either. Okay, that is done. Now we are nearly ready, so we'll go into Petrifying Being in order to stun him. Lots of hits, so that actually gives us a pretty good chance. Ah, woo, good. It is rather strange that a class that uses so much mana actually doesn't seem to have a skill that actually recovers mana, which is weird. Even Cthulhu Adept actually has that. Oh, stun at the last second. Well, poor you. Next one. Okay, we're up against Dread Emperor, who is another Doom Knight. He's a version 1 though, so that should make things a tiny bit easier. Go with Rot. Actually feel that's a waste of mana right there. Or is that supposed to be MP? Probably is. Probably mana. I'm probably thinking of Final Fantasy. And down for the count. I'm kinda lucky to be getting this many Doom Knights, to be honest. Actually one of the classes that I feel is on the highest on the power end based on those that we got. Okay, sure, we've got classes like Doom Knight, Cthulhu Adept, but this one is right up there too. Okay, we're up against Albino, another Doom Knight, big surprise there. Then again, it's a weekday. I doubt people are playing much PvP at this time of day. Actually, you know what? I don't care. Let's live dangerously. With this many hit, I can't see how he could possibly avoid my stun. These classes are actually some of the reasons I actually decided to upgrade my wisdom recently. Makes things a whole lot easier when using them. You could run out pretty quickly. And bam. One thing I feel I should mention is that much like in the original saga, what your armor is going to look like is going to depend on the gender you're using. There are those two characters being N and Tropy, so the male version actually looks a little more threatening than this one, but this one's cool too. Kinda has a Doom Knight feel, although I suppose all of them do. So basically the same thing, so I suppose we can possibly go all out on him while we're at it anyway. So we could probably go with Spit. That's the thing I'm kind of wondering, is that a player's initial resistance to darkness actually does a lot to making sure how effective this class will be. Sometimes I feel like if his darkness resistance was boosted through the roof, then you'd probably like to switch to another weapon, but it doesn't sound like something that's all that likely. Even with 50-50 darkness resistance, if you put Spit on, then all of your his darkness resistance is going to be fairly low. So it doesn't really matter, especially if you're using the Scan Orb. However, if you are struggling to get proper mana, then actually just using the basic skill, which is Infect here, you could actually get a decent amount, and if it doesn't get into the negative, then using another weapon is probably a good idea. But then again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's the end of that. Sweet! Streak of 6. So to finish up today, we're going to be going as a Tog Slayer. Let's do this! We're starting off against Fairy. Oh, I'm so happy that she's there. Sweet! So, in order to get started, let's start off with a stun, obviously. There you go. A nice little punt. I hear a lot of people talking about the Super Bowl lately, so this may be somewhat timelier than I hope. So let's go with Togmaster Strike to increase our damage. And move into that crazy Fire Tog move. Yeah, good. Now, what were the damage on those other ones? That's what I'd like to know. How's my boost looking? I've got a couple of turns, so it's not exactly a problem. 150 damage didn't sound the most efficient. Making good use of that undead chicken cow, though. Whee! Okay, I'm just spazzing here, I admit it. So, Stampede or that other one? Probably Stampede. Yep. Next one. Okay, we're up against Dylan, a regular in these videos, who is an evolved Dragon Lord. So let's see what we can do about this guy. First, let's punt him for good measure. Go into Togmaster Strike. It is rather well-teamed class. The fact that it uses a hammer as its default weapon is actually fairly cute. Even the basic attack, even with a sword, look kinda huge. Okay. So it wasn't double. What I wanted was Stampede. Whee! Contrary to what you might believe, the demonstration of joys during this move is absolutely necessary for the crit to occur. I'm totally not lying. So let's go with aimed, I suppose. Kinda had second thoughts on whether I would need the trinket at all. I will need to face off against a particularly defensive character for it to matter. So we're up against Aston Man. Aston Man was another Evolved Dragon Lord without much to show for it, so Yeah. Okay. Let's start off with Tongue Master Strike then. Now that I look at about it, with that hat I kind of look like a Power Ranger of some sort. That's kind of neat. Let's see what that does with Rune Blast actually. About the same as Stampede, really. Made a number on that thing. Okay, next up is Money, the Rift Walker. Gonna start with a good old-fashioned punt. Go Kitty! Okay. Going to Fire Dog. Whee! Yeah, that was way too easy. Gotta admit, this class got a heck of a punch, which is kinda scary. So we're up against Super Fighter. Super Fighter, who is a basic warrior with no weapon really. Well, that's too bad. Hunting time. I'm actually wondering something. You can see those eye heals on the female version of the armor, but does the male one has that? I don't know. I'll have to look it over on the forums again. It's not a big thing, but I'm kind of wondering. Whee! Go with Stampede. Yeah, the Rune Blast is better than this one. It can make for a neat filler move though. And that's the end of that. Streak of 7 people. So I'm afraid that's going to be it for the time being. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe, please leave a comment below. And that was the Great Pumpkin. You all have a pleasant time now. Bye bye.